Well, good morning. Today I am leaving Estonia and I will be taking a train from Narva all the way to Riga. But it's not going to be a direct train and it's not going to be as simple. Oh, no. There will be, I think, 3 or 2 transits at least until I make my way all the way to Riga, Latvia, the capital city. My train is leaving in about 15 minutes, so I can't wait to actually get there myself. My train is here already. Gosh, so much snow. I think this train will take me originally to Tallinn, but I will make a stop in between and move because I'm not going to make my way all the way to the west again, considering Narva is already in the east. So I'm just going to make a stop in the middle. So I just got off from the first train and made it to Tapa train station. I'm not sure if that train station is even working. It doesn't look like it. Is it just me? Where's the train going to be? This is so confusing. So I'm assuming that probably my next train will pass by this route as well, perhaps. So that's the fast train from Narva. I think generally if you choose this company Elron, it will be convenient, affordable, fast, and I highly recommend taking this specific train. Looks like this is my next train. To be honest, I'm just so knackered today. I don't know if I can make it as exciting as it is, but I love seeing some of these old houses that are so pastel colored and peaceful with like this snow ground covered. So I have made it to Valga, which is the last station, before actually heading towards Riga. I think, yeah. So from here, I need to check if I can get my ticket produced by them, because I had already purchased my ticket via Elron website, and I think they did instruct me to actually transfer between Tapa and Valga, and from here I think probably I can get to the ticketing counter and ask if I can get the train ticket to Riga, if that makes sense.
It was funny because at the train station there was no one working, there was no form of information center, and I think the Volga train station reminds me of some of the post-Soviet train station I've been on, but also because there were a few passengers that I think were going to the same direction, and we're all like confused, so there's this collective confusion as if what to do next, whether the train will be here soon and what time will the train be. So I think until one person or the other just sort of signaling the train is here, then everyone sort of rush into it, and because it's snowy, it was a bit difficult to cross the platform. So yeah, so far it's been very smooth. In fact, it's so smooth I need some tension and conflict happening, but nothing's happening. Everyone is so quiet, everyone is so peaceful. So I think we're not far until we are in Riga, but it's been so interesting to just witness and spend the entire day traveling from East Estonia all the way to Latvia. I think this train particularly will end in Vilnius, Lithuania. But the landscape hasn't changed very much. Passing through different towns, probably cities as well, and I just love witnessing different people getting in and out of the train, and also seeing this like thick snow covering all of these places.
We made it to Riga, guys. I am so chuffed, especially being able to look at these locomotives. I know this is such a train nerd of me, but I think this is Vivi, which is the train provider in Latvia, whereas the train that I've been on was Lithuanian, I think, and the very first train Elron was Estonian. Anyway. But it looks so cute with the yellow and grey train. I don't know about you, but I get giddy seeing this. My husband would approve this kind of reaction. But yeah, I think I'm just going to close the day and continue again tomorrow exploring Riga Old Town. Good morning, welcome to Old Town in Riga. So I feel like my energy has plummeted since the first week in Estonia, and I think because the weather and temperature, it's actually warmer. It makes me feel like I'm ready to end my trip, but I still have got a week to be here in Riga, and then actually I'm going to Vilnius tomorrow. I think Riga is one of the more popular cities for people in the UK because we've got so many great options to fly to Riga, even to Manchester. It is popular for a very wrong reason because people come here thinking that it will be cheaper to drink and have party. People would come here for stag do's and whatnot. So I'm not going to do that because I think it's worth exploring due to its beautiful people and culture, and especially architecture like this behind me.
As I wandered through Riga's old town, it didn't take long to understand why so many people speak so highly of this city. Riga is the capital of Latvia, and for more than 800 years, people have been coming here from different parts of Europe to live, trade, and build their lives. Visiting in winter, I found a city that felt both historic and lived in. The Old Town is one of the best preserved in the region, and as I walked through its street, it wasn't difficult to imagine how many generations had passed through here before me.
So upon my first impression after observing the Old Town slightly, I think apart from that, Riga has got a lot more population and feels a lot more vibrant, in a sense that I think the economy is going on quite well here. I think the youthful energy is also played a role because there's a lot of international students and people around my age or slightly older. The demographic in the city is a bit more vibrant. They're doing such a great work here because it's been snowy for the past couple of days, and every day there will be workers cleaning up the roof from all the snow-capped roof, and it looks quite high. Rather, I'm not sure if I would love to do that job. Obviously, the Old Town is a great spot if you would like to look out for restaurants, hotel. In fact, my Airbnb is actually gobsmack here in the Old Town, and yeah, it's quite fun and peaceful to roam around. I think during the day and weekdays like this, it's quiet. The weekends, I bet, is where majority of the weekend trippers would be visiting. But I'm actually going to a coffee shop because I need my caffeine intake for the day. So I'm walking along this huge pedestrian area, but also it's quite important because not only a lot of locals would use this as meeting point because it's also next to a park, but also behind me is the Freedom Monument. How grand is that?
Completed in 1935, the Freedom Monument has become one of Latvia's most recognizable landmarks. It survived both Nazi and Soviet occupation and today remains an important symbol of Latvian independence. While I was there, I stopped to watch the changing of the guard, a ceremony that takes place throughout the day beneath the monument.
Hello. Can I please have flat white?
Yeah, to go.
Just here. Thank you so much. That's so kind. How friendly.
Sorry, I missed you some.
Sorry, it's all right. Wow, that's so cool. Thank you. The coffee is fantastic. I was so surprised to be told that there are over or less than 2 million population in the city, and it always reminds me my little town of Wenchuan in China that was considerably as a little Chinese town, but we've got well over 2 million people. Perhaps visiting the Baltic states during winter is not your number one priority, but I think it is gorgeous because it's true winter with heavy snow and force you to cuddle up a bit more. And I'm walking along this Bastion Park, I think, because in the summer, when the canal behind me is not frozen, you can actually in fact get on a boat and tour around this canal because it connects to the river that actually separates Riga into two. Look, perhaps when it comes to food, Eastern European countries, especially Baltic states, aren't the number one that will come up on your mind. But I think I'm going to prove it wrong, because I'm going to book a taxi to Riga Central Market, and I think it has got a variety of options. So I've been using Bolt online taxi all around in Estonia here, and I just think it's a great app. I think in fact it is found in Estonia, is it? Anyway, so it often is very affordable and fast. So I'm very grateful, because as much as I love walking, I feel like I want a bit of comfort here and there, just a bit of warmth. So it seems to me not only tourists would come here to get a few bits and bobs for lunch and probably afternoon snack, but locals themselves seem to shop from here, because you've got some great collection of cheese from here, and even right there lots and lots of probably dried fruits, and it's a really interesting way to look into what the Baltic food culture is like, because it reminds me of some of the Slavic food I've been tasting in the past, but also there's a lot of similarities and differences, which makes it even more unique. Oh, I love me some market. I don't know about you, when I'm surrounded by this kind of people, vibrancy, it makes me feel so heartwarming. They seem to separate the section pretty well, because over here to my left, we've got bread section, and to my right, we've got dairy, peas. Over here, you've got condiments for cakes, and along this path, you can actually get yourself some honey, meadows, or cheese, which says Sears. So it seems to me that the place itself are rather organized, and they are not so crowded, considering that these are central market. Upon entering, I thought that the building actually reminds me some of the USSR market, perhaps similar to the one in Minsk. So yeah, that was fascinating. I'm not so massively hungry, so I just got myself a few donuts with some, I'm not quite sure if this is cream or milk. I am actually now at the fresh section, which means it's actually dedicated to fish. Being located so close to the Baltic Sea, they have a great variety of fish, smoked fish particularly, and I don't seem to know many of those. I mean, to me, it's so fascinating because the smell is slightly more pungent than the other one, but I love seeing it, because if this is part of the diet for local people, it's definitely important to look and observe. So I see and hear a lot of Russian spoken all around the Baltic states, because you have to consider only in 1990, 1991, around that time, around the year that I was born, they were no longer part of Soviet Union because Soviet Union has collapsed. So if you see a much older generation, their first language would be Russian, the second being the local language, perhaps Estonian, the Latvian or Lithuanian. Whereas if you see younger generation, they do probably speak Russian in their household, but also they speak really good English, but obviously also speak the local language a lot more often than they speak Russian. So I'm actually just admiring the completely frozen river over here, because this river is going to be connected to the Baltic Sea, but over here is the National Library, which I'm hoping to cross, not by skiing or by skating, but by the bridge. And yeah, it's absolutely fascinating, because over here there's also a bridge that if you love a train like me, you can watch lots of train passes by. I know I'm a dork, I sound like one, because I get excited over a bridge, frozen river and trains. Finally made it across the bridge, and I just have to say this, the wind was so strong my cheeks couldn't bear it. But yeah, the building of this National Library is so brand new and so very different to obviously what we've seen in the old town, and probably some of other architectural that are a bit more European-esque. So I'd be curious as to what the inside looks like, and I would love to warm up a bit more, especially given though it was just a 20-minute, but it felt like bracing the wind, the Baltic wind that was so very fierce. So I'm inside of the library, and how cool is that? The centerpiece of this building is actually People's Bookshelf, which holds so many books donated by not only Latvian but also visitors to Latvia. They hold special messages, personal messages, and it's quite lovely. The entrance fee is definitely zero and you are free to roam. But the main thing to do here is actually to get up to 11th floor. I am in disbelief that I'm able to reach the very top of this 11th floor and get to see the panoramic view of Riga for free. How amazing! Because it makes you appreciate the expanse of the city a lot more, especially in winter, where the frozen lake is the main character for me. It makes it so magical. Honestly, in other European countries, it would have been something of a 12-20 euros. Probably not here. It's free. Amazing. Well, my visit to Riga wouldn't be complete without a visit to Alberta Iela or Alberta Street, because this street actually boasts some of the best Art Nouveau style. So the street completely filled with buildings with such intricate and fascinating decor and architecture. It's so lovely to look at. But one of particular quirkiness that I found is there's this cat proposing to another cat. Honestly, what is Latvian with cats? So cute. Anyway, I think I am quite exhausted and ready to close my day. But apart from that, this street alone is worth looking at and looking for and observing how lovely these buildings are. It actually reminds me of Bucharest, Romania. Not sure, some parts of it actually reminds me of that city, and I think the architecture perhaps is a resemblance of some parts of Bucharest. I'm just walking through one of many parks in the city, and I love how it's essentially important to Latvian. And I think I read somewhere on the article that Latvian and nature are very much intertwined, so there's element of this kind gobsmacked in the middle of the city and with gorgeous mature trees, and I love being surrounded by it, and people just quietly walk in the middle of the day or after they finish their work. Yeah, it's just something that is so lovely to look at. I don't know if you notice how far east the Baltic states are. Obviously it borders Russia, and there's a huge support for Ukraine since the Russian aggression, right? And it's quite funny because in Riga, behind me, this is the Russian embassy, and gobsmack in front of it there's a lot of posters and sort of statement that says something about Putin. And over here, huge array of Ukrainian flag. I think it's hard to comment on political stuff because it's not my forte, but it's just really interesting. Wherever you go, there's something about politics that always shakes up a nation. Incredible. So I'm back standing in front of the Freedom Monument where I started, and I would like to say thank you so much for watching today's episode from Narva all the way to Riga, the train journey and exploration a bit of the city. I can't wait to actually see you again on the next video, because tomorrow I'm actually going to Vilnius, my last stop in the Baltic states, which is Lithuania. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Would you love to see more of this? And yeah, I can't wait to read and see you again next time. Bye.